So I was browsing the jam pages and I stumbled across the Let's Talk Game Jam, and it kind of piqued my interest a little bit. The jam's actually been running now for a couple of hours at this point, but it's a 9-day jam, so I should have enough time. The theme is slightly weird. There isn't actually a theme, but instead what you've got to do is create a game where the core mechanics relate to the initials LTGD. So Let's Talk Game Design. And I initially discounted it, thinking, well, there's no way I can't work that out at all. It's crazy. But I came up with a couple of ideas, and I think one of them is actually going to be pretty good. Well, it's going to be okay. So my idea is let the guy dig. And I'm basically just going to make a little chill digging game with some various platform elements, with some directional digging. You have to create your own mine. There can be various different things that you can dig up. Selling that stuff means that you can upgrade your pickaxe and buy ladders and dynamite and all that sort of stuff. It's not a massively original concept. There's been plenty of games before, but I'm curious to see how I do. So I've been working on it now for maybe a couple of hours. I have a very basic scene set up with some earth and some resources within that tile map, and I have a player set up with my state machine. This is taken almost directly from my basic player controller tutorial. It is exactly the same code. I'll put a link in the description. And when you play the game, I've got the debugging collision boxes on at the moment. You can see I can walk around my level, I can drop down, I can jump up, and all that sort of good stuff. You'll also see there's a little dot that's sort of circling my player, and this is going to be the pickaxe direction. So for example, if I was going to pickaxe at this point in time right here, the block to my left would have to be destroyed. So in that way I can directionally affect my level and dig out my mine. Okay, I've made some progress. I now have it so that you can't actually see now which direction you are facing, but because I've swapped out the area 2D for a position 2D. But effectively now, when you are facing the right direction, or facing any direction in fact, you can now mine the tiles around you. You don't get anything for it, and there's obviously no animation or anything like that yet, but you can see you can now actually traverse around your mine and make little paths and so forth, so you can get to the various different resources. It's day 2 now. I have spent a bit of time implementing a basic inventory system, as you can see here. It doesn't stop the player from moving around yet, but it will do at some point. Also, now when you actually mine something, you get that something in your inventory. As you can see here, I've got some gold bars, and if I come down here and mine this rock, I get some rocks. It's also worth noting that when you collect more than one object, they actually stack quite nicely as well. So you can see here I've now got 2 rocks, and now I've got 2 gold, and if I come over here, I've now got 3 rocks. I've recolored my main assets, and I've also now added some animations to my little dude. So he's got little jumping and falling animations. You can walk left and right, obviously, and a little idle animation. And I've also got a little mining animation now. And you'll also notice that the tile that the player is mining doesn't disappear now until the mining animation has completed. The inventory is also slightly tightened up. It's starting to look kind of nice. I'll spend a bit of time putting together a Trello board for my game, with a very short amount of completed tasks. Next up tonight though, I'm going to be looking at implementing ladders, because it's getting a bit tricky to move around the mine as you've actually progressed in it. So ladders are next. Okay, so I've implemented some ladders now, and as you can see here, I've got some ladders. I run past them, nothing happens, but if I'm near the ladders and I press up, I can actually go up or down the ladder. I've obviously not got a climbing animation yet. gets a little bit sketchy when you get into the top, and if you do the same thing across the top, it kind of goes into a fall animation. But yeah, it kind of works. It's not amazing, but it works, and it means that you can obviously now traverse across that top path and across the bottom path, and that works really well. So yeah, I'm fairly pleased with that. I'm going to tick that one off. I think next up is working out how to actually place the ladders. Scratch that, I've gone off on a complete tangent, and instead I have implemented some different tiles. So you can see I've got some coal tiles up here, and a gem tile as well, and I've got some dinosaur bones or some sort of bone thing over here. All of these have actually got corresponding inventory items, and I've made it so that you spawn with 5 ladder items in your inventory, with the intention of obviously being able to place these, but like I say, we're off on a tangent. So the other thing that I've done is I've made it so that your pickaxe has a level, and if you are trying to mine something that is the right level for your pickaxe, you obviously can do that. That works perfectly fine. But if you're trying to mine something that is too high a level for your pickaxe, which I can't actually get to at the moment. So this gold up here, for example, you can see I cannot mine the gold. So to get the gold, I would need a better pickaxe. So that's effectively the start of my upgrade system. Continuing down my tangent, I have now added a helmet light to the player, and as you can see, it looks like all of my resources have disappeared. They have not. I've managed to make it so the helmet light reveals them, so as you get closer to the resource, so that resource becomes visible. And again, this is a continuation of the sort of upgrade system. I will make it so that you can have more powerful lamps, and basically what that's going to do is that's going to obviously increase the radius of your light. And the other thing I have done is I've added a climbing animation for the player, so you can get up and down the ladder without looking quite so terrible. I started work on the level generator, and you can see here I've now got a massive level. My auto tiling thing's not working quite right yet. I seem to have lots of the same flowers, but as you can see, as I start mining downwards, so resources become available to me to collect. These are all randomly placed, and it's about 30% of the level is a resource tile, and the other 70% obviously being dirt. There's only one slight exception to this, and that is that within here somewhere are a very select few of the gem tiles, and the intention is going to be that to complete the game you need to collect, I don't know, maybe 5 gems or something like that, and doing so will complete the game. But there's 10 gems in a currently 10,000 square map, so yeah, should be interesting trying to find that. I now have the ability to add ladders, so I mean, it doesn't actually decrease the number of ladders at the moment, so you've basically got the ability to add infinite ladders, but basically when you are underground, and this doesn't work when you're above ground as well, there is now the ability to add a ladder at the point that you are at, and if you climb up you can obviously add ladders as you go, so that works really nicely. I've also started working on the shop system, so I've got my shop here, and when I go to the shop and interact with it, you can see here I've got the ability here to upgrade my pickaxe. So at the moment it doesn't change the price and it doesn't do anything with the money, but you can see here I can keep on upgrading my pickaxe to maximum level. And what that now means is when I come out of the shop and go and find some resources, there should be something down here. See, here's some coal, which I couldn't mine previously. Now I can easily get that. I can easily get the bones. I can easily get the gold, and they are all stacking nicely in my inventory. I've added money into the game. As you can see in my top left corner, I now have 3,000 coins, I guess, something like that, I'm not sure. When I go into the shop now and I buy upgrades, you'll see that my money depletes. I can also buy new ladders, and those ladders get added into my inventory as you would expect. Also worth noting is that when I place ladders, they actually get depleted as well, and it won't let me place ladders anymore once I have no ladders left in my inventory. I spent a bit of time making the game look a bit prettier. As you can see, I've added a parallax background now, and I've also changed the camera offset so that you can see a bit more of it. However, I didn't really want that to impede the player, so when you actually drop down into the mine, the camera offset now pans down so you can see what you're doing underground, but when you come back out, it moves back up. The other thing I've done is started looking at the inventory and how I can make that feel a bit nicer to use. As you can see here now, my bag looks a bit more deliberate, shall we say. I think some of the icons are going to clash a little bit with the background colours. I need to check those, but yeah, it's looking a lot nicer, and it feels quite nice to play now as well. You can see from the Trello board that I'm actually getting fairly close to completing the game. My to-do column is obviously the next things that I'm going to be working on, which is specifically around the merchant graphics and the merchant system. I also realised that I don't actually display any kind of indicator to the player when they've actually partially mined a tile, so I need to do that as well. The backlog is the stuff that I still need to get done before the game is complete, and I've started an ideas list for if I want to proceed with the game and do some more development on it after the jam is finished. Oh my god, I've spent the last 4 hours trying to get this working. It's absolutely ridiculous. You can see here I've now got a little cart. That's my merchant that you can sell objects at. And just to show you what I've got in my inventory at the moment, you can see here I've split the stone stacks up so there's only 2 as its maximum stack size. I've done this deliberately because what I wanted to see was how I could combine them together to make it easier to sell. It was very simple to have a bag and sell each stack individually. That was fine. But when it comes to the merchant menu, I didn't want to have lots and lots of individual slots for each stack. I wanted to combine them together. As you can see here, my rocks here, all 5 rocks, are now one thing that you can sell in one go. And I couldn't get it to work for absolutely ages. It turns out that if you try and use a dynamically sized array to store things like I was doing, if you're making a change to that array and then checking for that change to have occurred, it just doesn't work. It basically ignores you completely and says the array has not changed until the next time you loop over it, and then it realizes that the array in fact has changed. And the number of things that I tried to get that working was ridiculous. In the end, I've basically created a statically sized array with 12 items in it, even though there will never be 12 items in this list. And I've just set them manually one at a time. Crazy, absolutely crazy. Anyway, the result now is that I can sell my coal, my money goes up. I can sell my rocks, my money goes up. I can leave it at that if I want to. And you can see in my bag those items have been removed. So it is now working, and I can move on to the next thing. Thank God. I've spent some time today sorting out my main menu, and I've also started sourcing sounds that I'm implementing in the game. So you can see here I've got the options for new game and to quit, and that obviously brings me into the game. I've also implemented a game over screen, which tracks your tiles that you've dug out, the resources you've collected, the money that you've earned and the money you spent. Fairly basic stuff, but I think it looks quite nice. And then obviously you've got the option then to go back to the menu. So this actually completes the game loop. I need to now sit down and put all of the sounds in that I've already sourced, but it's 1:30 in the morning and I'm shattered, so I'm going to have to leave this until tomorrow. Okay guys, it's another late night update. It's just gone 1 o'clock in the morning. Let me talk you through what I've got sorted out today. So the game now has music, all of the sounds are in, there's a little crumble particle effect. I managed to fix the tile priorities. That was a complete pain in the bum. I ended up basically just rewriting the whole thing so that it randomly selected the tiles from a list. Trying to get the atlas thing working, it was a waste of time. I've also added a pause screen and I've got some UI improvements to show you as well. So let's have a look. Okay, here we are in game. As you can see, well, the first thing you can see realistically is the UI improvements. You've now got a more graphical looking interface, if you like. My intention is that the icons in the bottom right corner will have keys associated to them. I'll probably use Nathan Hode's input helper for this because it's fantastic, but I'm rapidly running out of time tonight, so let me just show you what I've done. In the bottom left corner you can now see your helmet and pick levels. So you can see here when I go into the shop and I increase my pick level, I get more little icons and so forth. In the top right corner it shows you the number of gems that you've mined, the total that you need. So when you collect a gem, just come down here so you can see it a bit clearer. You can see the gems fill up. Also you'll notice that the game has lots more sound effects in it, and little particle effects when you mine the dirt. Yes. I've also got some sound effects for the bag opening and closing, and also when you go into the shop and leave the shop. Oh, and of course when you sell stuff too. What else is there? Oh yes, the pause menu. So there's now a pause menu, pretty straightforward, just resume or leave, which works as you would expect. And all of this stuff should also work with the controller as well. So yeah, it's pretty nice. I've just got to work out how I'm going to get these the input prompts to appear now. But yeah, it's so close to being finished. I think I'm going to probably miss the start of the Kenny Jam. I don't really know how I'm going to do it. I might have mentioned at the start of this video, I can't actually remember now, but my intention was to try and get this Game Jam game completed before Friday, but it was actually supposed to be before Saturday, but Kenny moved the jam forward one day. He got it wrong when the dates were, so yeah, I've lost a day on working on this game, but it's so close to finishing off, and I think maybe I'll just miss the start of the Kenny Jam, or I might miss the Kenny Jam. I don't know, but I'll think about it tomorrow. Anyway, I'm signing off for tonight. See you in the morning. It's Friday, it's 9 o'clock. I have missed the start of the Kenny Jam, but I have pretty much finished this game. So I'm just going to run you through what I've done today. You can see here I've got my new game options, and I've now got a bit of dialogue that welcomes you to the game, sets your objectives, specifically digging up 5 gems. I've got a little bit of helper text that is by the side of the player, and as you move, so that then disappears. You can see in the bottom right corner I've now got my my prompt icons over the top of my actions, and if I swap to using the keyboard, probably if I had it highlighted. If I swapped using the keyboard, you can see they swap. And you might go, well, hang on a minute, why is it that they also change position? And that is because it's far more comfortable when you're using the keyboard to be pressing J for the pickaxe and L for the ladder. It makes more sense, but when you're using the controller, the B button makes more sense for the pickaxe. Also, I've got a little notification system now, so when I pick something up, you can see it says rock on the right hand side, and if I can't mine something, it says I need a better pickaxe. When I go into the shop, I can try and buy something, and it tells me I do not have enough money, and that's right, I did pick something up, that's fine. So when I go in here now and I click sell, you see I've got 15 coins, so it went plus 15, and yeah, it works really nicely. And this whole thing works quite nicely as well when you are using the keyboard. So you can see when you go over the shop, the spacebar is the action key, but if you're using the controller, the action key is A. So yeah, really pleased with this. It works perfectly. I will be pushing this up to itch. In fact, I have actually already pushed it up to itch. I'll drop the description. I'll drop the link rather in the description, and go check it out. It's a fun little game. I'd imagine I'll probably make a couple of bug fixes to it now, but it's basically feature complete. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and if you have been, please remember to give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this sort of thing. And hopefully I will catch you in the next one, which should be the Kenny Jam video, if I do it. I've got about 36 hours to do a 48-hour jam, so yeah, it's going to be tricky, but thanks very much for watching. I will see you soon.